This is the continuation of the first video, which we discussed about the number 5 and 7. Now open your textbook again, page 50, exercise 2D, and we'll discuss number 10, 12, 14. So for number 10, yeah, it is the addition and subtraction of fractions again. Let's take a look at number A here. So the first thing we can do here, for me, I can't help but to change this minus negative into positive first. Yeah. So because it is really obvious there, we already know that if you have two negative signs meets here, you can turn it to plus a positive sign. So what I did here is this first. So, and then change the mixed fraction. And then after you have all the fractions, no mixed fraction anymore, so all just like improper fractions and proper fractions, you can now, finally do the addition and subtraction by changing all the denominator into the same number. So you must look for the common denominator. Here, I change it to 20, which is the LCM, the least common multiples of them. So for the 8 over 5, because the 5 you want to change it to 20, we just times 4 both. Remember, you have to times both the top and the bottom. For 4 we times 5. This one is times 10. So after the all denominator is the same, we can just combine the top one here. So negative 32 plus 45 minus 10. And then finally, this is the answer. Now, this one is easy. Let's take a look at number 12, C. Okay, now this is more complex one. So we have minus here, and then multiplication, and then division, and then addition. So where do we start? We start from the inside bracket first. Remember the rule that you guys saw in the video that I made. So we need to deal with the power first. If there is power, turn out there is no power here, so we go to the next one, which is bracket. So power bracket, or power or root, and then bracket, and then finally multiplication and division, and lastly will be addition and subtraction. So we do this first inside bracket. So we can turn the mixed fraction here into the improper fraction, which is 9 over 2, right? 4 times 2 plus 1, 9 over 2. And then at the same time, we can flip it upside down to turn the division into multiplication. So 2 steps at once. And then you'll get 3 over 2 times 2 over 9. And then the next step will be just again, we are not finished yet with the inside bracket, so we times this. So either you change it to 6 over 18, and then you simplify it, or you can cancel out those numbers first, which give you the result of 1 over 3 here. Now we have subtraction, multiplication, and subtraction again. Again, back to the rule, we deal with the multiplication first. So we cancel this out also. We can. We can cancel 3 and 15 out, and we have 5 over 8. Actually, that's the better way, but turned out that I did not do that. But rather than that, I just times it. Okay, 15 over 24, So I got a bigger number now. It's okay, so okay. Now we have just subtraction. We have 10 here, we have 15 over 24, we have, actually 10 negative 15 over 24, and then negative 1 over 4. So in order to subtract them all, we have to change them into having the same denominators. So for 24, I just leave it like, we can just leave it like that. For 4, we can times 6, both top and bottom. For 10, we can treat it as 10 over 1. And then we can times the top and bottom, yeah, both with 24. After we have achieved the common denominator, we can just combine the top one and just simplify that into 219 over 24, change it to mixed fraction. That's better way. And then lastly, we have to simplify. We have to make sure that it is in simplest form. And it'll be 9 over 1 over 8. Now for number 14a, so multiplication of fractions but involving decimals. Now the way that I recommend you to do is not do the division first, because I've tried it and it will give you another like decimal numbers, so it's not really a good way. And also the decimals for this one it will result in 1.33333. It will give you a never-ending decimal points, which later will give you quite inaccurate results. So you better times first. So let's do the multiplication first. 0.15 times negative 0.16, and it will give you negative 0.024. And for the bottom one will be 0.6. So I skipped the explanation about the multiplication because we already covered that, right, in the previous video. So finally we have this, and we're gonna do the division. But remember, again, to do the division, you're gonna want to change the divisor into something not decimal. So we just move the decimal point to the right, one time, and the top one also treated as same. So the the decimal point between the 0 and 0 here move to the right one time. It will become 0.24. 0.24. Yeah, that means the first 0 is omitted because we don't need already. So 0.24 only. So don't write 0.24. Yeah, the first 0 is omitted. It's no use anymore. So 0.24 divided by 6, we'll just have the 24 divided by 6 first, 4. That's how you do it. And then because it was 0.24 originally, which have 2 decimal points, so I'm going to change this result, this 4, in a way that it will have 2 decimal points, same like this one, the 0.24. So we can just add 2 zeros in front and put the decimal point in between the zeros. So you can notice I use a different color. I use the green one to indicate that this is added on purpose. So now we can count the decimal point again. Yeah, the numbers behind the 0. So 0 and 4. So 1, 2. Now that the decimal points are the same amount as it was originally, that concludes the working. So final answer is obtained, 0.04. And for number D, almost same thing. This time we have power here. So remember the rule again. Deal with the power or root first. So 0.4 squared. So 0.4 times 0.4, right? Now that will give you 0.16. You can try it yourself. And the negative sign is just remain the same. Now, one thing to notice here, sometimes you will have bracket here, yeah, bracket here, on the left side of the negative sign and on the right side of the 4. That will mean different thing. Remember, if you have bracket here, that means the negative sign is also squared. That means negative times negative. That if you have bracket here, that means it will result in positive 0.16. But because there's no bracket here, that means only the 0.4 that is squared. The negative sign isn't squared. So just leave it like that. Now, for the multiplication here, yeah, I also recommend you to times first the top one, rather than do the division here, because it might give you just too much amount of the decimal points, yeah, or never-ending one, which again, as I said, will give you inaccurate answers. So you have 0.208, yeah, as the result of the multiplication of the product here, divided by 0.8, and then you minus. So that means you do the division first. Now look at this working below. So what we can do here, yeah, remember we move the decimal point to the right once first because we want to change this into 8. So you can finally divide with 8. And see here that we can just write 208 first. Yeah, so don't mind the decimal point first, which we can have 26 as the result. And it isn't finished yet because it was originally 2.08, which have the 2 decimal points. Again, we change this 26 in a way that it will have 2 decimal points here. So the 0 and the decimal point here, notice that I use the green color, means that we purposely add it, yeah. Okay, and after that, we haven't finished here. Remember, we have the minus 0.62, which we just leave it for the last operation. So just normal subtraction here, and that will give you negative 0.36. So that's it for today for number 10, 12, and 14. Okay, I'm gonna be seeing you in the next discussion. Bye bye.